the drainage system. We want some address of that. I'm sure, I'm fairly certain this project is going to bring some good, a lot of good. As at that particular place. And subsequently in the report, so only stated that SDPC was given the land for the development. Okay, it was on page 4 that was stated, that the equity has been largely land, but does not clearly state the contribution of LSDPC. That is one. Another question is, sorry, now the dates for the samples. On some it was 2026, on some it was labeled 2025. So there should be a correlation so that we'll know which dates you did your sampling. The year was varying across the project. Now, in your chapter 3, there is no geographical coordinates of the sites stated anywhere in the report. There is no geographical coordinate, there's no map. There's a map. Is there a map? No. But there was no geographical coordinate of that project. So there's no way I can impute on a Google map or Google Earth and say, okay, I'm going here and it's taking 0.91. That's in your chapter 3. It talks about convenience. We are in a particular world now where we talk about equality and all that. We talked about 5 toilets, convenience, and we did not mention who those conveniences are for. We did not mention if those toilet conveniences have facilities for people with privilege, like the people that uses either a wheelchair or coach system, disabilities. Do we have facilities for them? We just said convenience, and it was stated that it is a more detailed program breakdown of that particular floor. So if it is a more detailed breakdown of the floor and you don't have specifications for those kind of people, that means there's an omission there, and this should be looked into. You mentioned the traffic impact analysis, but nothing was said about the traffic impact. You just said you did traffic impact analysis. There was no insight into what it entails, if that can be added to. Now, I would like to also go into chapters 4. It says the baseline was for a project that is going for 60 years. You cannot only have your sampling for just wet season. At least you need to have something from the dry season to back it up, bearing in mind the variability of the VI residents. Because sometimes in the Harmattan, you have an increase in the PM 2.5, PM 10. So if you say you are only doing for wet season, what about those times where you have increase in the dust particles around? Would that dust particle be attributed to your project, or you attribute it to probably the environmental condition? So if you can have either a DEX report and use it to back up your report, I think that would would suffice to. Now, for sections 4.2 to 4.3, the ESI states that SAAG Chemical Nigeria Limited, a company that was accredited by the Federal Ministry of Environment and LASEPA, was used for the analysis. Now, there is no certification from SAAG Chemicals. If, sir, it's not there, sir. In the report, it's not in the report. I read the report, sir. It's not there. Then the Q&C question. Your reference is stating ISO 17025/2025. It is superseded by the one that is currently used, which is 2027. So I think again there is 2017 rather. So there's a 2017 5 rather. Thank you, ma. Then for the noise, for the I said noise, for the air quality, nitrogen dioxide is associated with vehicular movement. The ozone bound body way, where that particular facility is, the proposed project is going to be sited, is a very high vehicular movement area. That means there's a huge possibility of us having high nitrogen dioxide content there. But the report says it is less than 0.001. So which brings to question, what was the equipment that was used? What time was it taken? Because that place, the vehicular movement there is high. And for a pollutant that is associated with vehicles, having that kind of a value in that kind of a busy environment, there's a contrast. So if we can look into that also. Yes, sir. I'm trying to comment. Yes, another question. When they stated about, yes, this one is of health importance. It records the presence of Glossima fusca, which is the tsetse-fly, our fauna. In the reports, there's a record table 4 in sections 4.91, 9.2. The table 4.13, 4.13 records the presence of Glossima, which is tsetse-fly. Now that facility has 592 units. If we give an average of 2% per unit facility, that's over 1,000. So if we have 1,000 persons exposed to tsetse-fly in that particular environment and they are beaten at random, that means we can have a spread of the trypanosoma around Lagos State. So is it that thing is there? Is it something we should take note of? Or is something that we should just, or maybe it's an oversight, or is it actually there so that we will take note? Because exposing that in the VI community is of high health risk. I think that will. Thank you, sir. Now, sections 4.1. Okay, sir. I'll answer to go to another chapter. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay. In chapter 7, your ESMP framework, the reporting channels are not clearly defined. The reporting lines, roles, responsibilities of the proponent, the contractor, the supervising consultant, and the environmental manager should be included. What is this person doing? What is this person doing? Let us know so that we'll know who is to be held accountable for each particular process. Sorry, the last one. Sorry. Yes. That's it for now, sir. Thank you, sir. Round of applause.
Yes. While the presentation was ongoing, we requested for the permission of the finance chairman to do what I want to do now, and he has given us. She gave us that permission. And we have the presence of some, the head of the Environmental Assessment Department and the head of unit Environmental and Social Safeguards of the ministry. The two gentlemen are doing the one these programs together. They have not been sleeping the last 2 weeks. And when we were coming here this morning, I told them that we wouldn't have done this without your presence here. They said, no, go ahead, you have the capacity to do it. And that is why we are doing what we are doing now. Now that they are now around, let's give honor to who honor is due for. We have the presence of Dr. Olasunkanmi Sojino, the head of Department of Environmental Assessment. We also have Mr. Lasisa Adepoye, the head of the unit Environmental and Social Safeguards of the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jupe. Then the next one is engineering experts in the presence of Mr. Ifeanyi Okere.
Standing on the existing protocol. I've listened keenly to the presentation, and I have quite a few questions, technical questions to put through to the team. It beckons more on the civil engineering aspect, structural aspect of the presentation, the EIA report rather, which I had studied, and the mechanical. To start with, I was not made, the structural design drawings were not privy for review. I would have expected that drawing is submitted so that we can see at least the number of pies, the nature of the arrangement of the pie caps and all, but that was not made available. And again, I would like to ask, what is the scope of the construction? Is it a flat slab adoption, or because of projects we expect a flat slab, method of construction, and that flat slab had to be pre-stressed for the height we're going and for the nature of the construction. Knowing that Victoria Island is sandfield, what is our plan towards the foundation construction of this project? What have we done in preparation for all aspects of the interference with the surrounding, with the environment, the buildings around the site, the action site? How does the activity of this construction affect other buildings around the site? To this end, it is expected that we provide the geotechnical report, SPT, which is the standard penetration tests, and the cone penetration test graphs. Those will be required. The foundation layout drawings showing the pie caps, like I stated earlier, and possibly the letter from current registered geotechnical engineer. The second one on civil still, about 48% from my review, about 48% coverage shows the 100-year storm runoff was the connection to the drain. Now, this panel will not be able to approve your EIA report if it does not clearly define that the drainage, the surface runoff that is coming from the building can be accommodated by the drains. Yes, I've had feedbacks where there have been proposals to expand the drains. Yes, that should be seriously looked into, because it is not enough to say we have channeled everything, we do as much as we can to clean the drains periodically. If the runoff that is coming from the building is beyond the capacity of the drains, it will definitely overflow, be the drain empty. So we must, as much as possible, look at expanding the drainage, and that will help us. That will come as a result of the analysis we have done to know the storm water that is coming from the property. Okay, we need evidence-based facts, not just stand off. Yes, we'll pass it through the drainage. Okay, so it is important that we look at that, know the stormwater, that the volume of stormwater that is coming through, and the need and the extent of expansion, if need be, that has to be done. Last, on the civil engineering, that has been talked about, recorded here, the traffic impact study. I think I don't want to overflow that. That has been dealt with. And of course, we understand that Ozumba-Mbadiwe is already congested. The panel will reject any report that does not have the matter buy-in. So we need of showing fans and dots. The fire strategy report signed by a Korean mechanical and fire engineer. Above all, the report is somewhat an overview. The report that we listened to earlier is somewhat an overview of the AIA report. And from the soft copy of the report that I got, I have taken time to go through it and I've been able to draft out these questions for you. You may want to respond to them as necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rescue services. Your comments.
All the courses duly extended. Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, an agency of government which owes the duties of carrying out fire protection duties to extinguish fire and to carry out humanitarian services and rescue operations. We have come up with our own comment on the draft EIA. But for now, I want to ask just a few questions. The first question is, looking at the project itself, it's a very big project. How do you overcome people not building in 10 minutes or less than that, or 5 minutes less than that, an emergency? Secondly, what do you locate your master point that would allow that would take to bring people in that in the building? And lastly, before the project gets started, you must get fire clearance before commencement. Thank you.
Thank you. Office of Drainage Services, your comment.
All protocols duly observed. I greet all distinguished guests, my respected directors on seat, ladies and gentlemen. It is of great honor to sit and speak before our guests here. As regard the report, I observed that from the section where the report talks about stormwater management, it is not properly expatiated. It is expected that we should have a stormwater management plan, which tells us how we intend to manage stormwater within the proposed project. And I also, there is an appreciable percentage of area that's meant to be left for green areas within the proposed site, which is not stated in the report from what I glanced through. And also, the report also does not talk, because in the stormwater management, what we call SUDS, which is Sustainable Urban Drainage System. And in this Sustainable Urban Drainage System, you are meant to, you said, okay, you manage stormwater within the project site by collecting to a storage tank. What's the size of the storage tank is not stated in the report, because it is supposed storage tank is a function or a subject of the size of the land, which also tells us the generated stormwater for you to collect and discharge at off-peak period, not during heavy. That is expected in the report. Also, when you discuss about wastewater, you said after treating the wastewater, you discharge the black water to the canal. I'm saying this for free. Our canals in Lagos State are not meant for any wastewater. They are only for storm water. They are to convey storm water only. So you cannot discharge any wastewater from any building or any project site to our canals. Even in your report, we are meant to know the minimum level of your foundation or your project site as a whole, because it is one of the issues we have in Lagos where developments are being done without the consent of the ministry or anybody. And when it is raining, you are already below adjoining infrastructures. So you now say you are experiencing flood, which you are even below the road and drainage system that you are meant to discharge to. So in conclusion, I will urge the proponent's representative to, it's very important and necessary to tell the proponent to liaise quickly with the Office of Drainage Services in provision of all these I have stated, because we are meant to have, we are meant to have the drainage impact assessment. You tell us what's the impact of this development on the existing drainage infrastructure adjoining the project site. After development, what would be the impact on it? And I also heard from the consultant's presentation, he said the existing drainage system is to be maintained in section. Now, how do we know what setback is required for the existing drainage system? Because the two properties we need to develop now, there's an existing canal that runs in between both of them. So for you coming to ODS now is for you to know what is required. The required setback for our drainage, because it is subjected to an upgrade too, based on how development comes to the area. So we are going to exercise an appreciable setbacks. So it is advisable and it's very important for you to come to Office of Drainage Services for you to know if you are on track. Thank you.
Thank you, all the panels. So, thank you. I do hope the proponents noted all the concern observation from the EIA report. From representative of the chair, Highland local SCD, they talk about mainly about flood mitigation, which all the panel member also talk about. Then the traffic assessment and management. Then the local government, they are very concerned about the CSR, their CSR. Then the chairman, his concern is mainly about the flood mitigation. So we have to incorporate that one in our project. So then the comment from Ministry of Environment, they are concerned about the conveniency that you mentioned. You said you should incorporate the people with disability. It has to be the people with disability has to be considered in your project. Then the environmental management plan has to be really, you have to really consider it so that we know when we come for impact mitigation, we know who and who we are going to hold on when we want to on those ones. Then the engineering experts, they talk about the magnitude, the design need to be their design, that the slab that you are going to, what type of the slab you are using, maybe it's flat one, or then the foundation, then the stormwater management. We also talk about the storm management too. Then the drainage, the fire said you have to see them in their office so that the fire rescue, they have to see you concerning their safety, the safety of their building. Then the drainage also talk the impacts. Mostly the drainage tools talk about the flood mitigation too, the existing and the required setback for the projects. And all this one, we know that though your project, the project is to contribute to economic growth, as you said, employment generation, tourism, and improve infrastructure. But the this proposed project must be planned and implemented in a manner that protects our environment and promotes sustainability. So I encourage you that all these comments that everybody stated, you have to respond to it. It's not that to reach out or to affect your project, but just so that the project can be sustained.
To take charge of this process, we are confident that your panel is doing a good job and then rely on recommendations. Thank you very much, ma'am.
So, vote of thanks. Mr. Jibril. Okay. The proponent, I don't know whether you still want further clarification, or is your commitment to incorporate the observation into the final
Okay,
report?
thank you again for the comments. We will put them in our report. All fears, particularly about drainage, about traffic, are not unexpected. Flood control, but more importantly, just to say that we don't expect a full capacity building all months, all weeks of the year. You know, it's an apartment hotel, people come and go. In fact, the time we expect the highest volume during Christmas. This is December, as you love to say. So it's not every day, it's not like our Bagada or anywhere in Kenya. So the proponent is committed, they have a global name, and they want to keep the brand. And they know that environmental issues are very key. Environmental and social issues are very key. So we thank you very much on behalf of the proponent.
Thanks so much, sir. Next one, we'll be giving the vote of thanks by Mrs. Shubola Mohammed, Director in the Ministry of Environment.
Thank you. On behalf of the Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Wahab Tukundu, the Honor and the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Mobolaji Gachi, want to say a big thank you to our panelists and stakeholders for taking your time to attend this panel review session. We thank you for the comments, we thank you for the questions, and we pray that all relevant comments will be incorporated in the final draft report. Thank you for taking your time. At this junction, we want to appreciate you more and we wish you journey messages back to your various destinations. Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. We'll be going for a closed door session now. The proponents and are we going to, yes.
The next item on the agenda is a closed talk session where the draft reports will be re-examined again, and each panelist will offer his own score based on what they have read and not what we have discussed, based on their individual presentation and what they see about that report. But before then, we would like to take good pictures of the people that are here. So the order of the picture is the panelists will take theirs. The next one will be the panelists and the proponent have two teams, the consultant team and the real proponents. So after that, there are the panelists and other stakeholders there, which are mainly officers from the Ministry of Environment and Water Resources. We also take that picture. So then after that, the proponent and his team will leave the stage for us. When officers of the ministry who are here will stay behind and see the proceeding at the closed-door session. So let's go out the stakeholder.